let's head back to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
My name's Anthony, longtime Browns fan. Yeah, we're moving on to week 2. A lot of fans are going to dwell on this game, but here's another thing people haven't talked about. You let one of the best offensive line coaches in Mr. Callahan leave to go coach with his son in Tennessee. And I'm aware that the offensive line has injured, but you're losing some chemistry coaching-wise, and offensive line, even the backup offensive linemen, they respected Callahan. This guy made everything gel. Even when we had the injuries, he got backup guys that don't play a lot to play better. And losing Callahan, I think it's going to hurt the team. I think that actually set the team back at least 2 years. If you can find a better offensive line coach than Callahan, but that's just my take on it. I haven't thrown in the towel on Watson yet, but we got to give him a chance. If he continues to struggle like this the rest of the season, then the experiment is over. It'll go down as one of the worst trades in NFL history, if not pro sports history. Thank you for listening to my call. Go Browns.
As always, appreciates all of the voicemails. Fred, I don't know that it's Andy Dickerson, but it is a different system, so they're probably doing some things a little differently. And I think that's probably a valid point. The offensive line has to figure out exactly how they're going to block and play off of each other.
There's so many variables. I agree. Bill Callahan, is regarded as one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, and it's a loss to lose him. But, in the rushing game, for example, they were top 5, I think, not last year, but the previous years, and they had Nick Chubb. Last year, they dropped down to middle of the pack. Was it because they didn't have Nick Chubb or because of the offensive line? So I think a little of it goes hand in hand. So are they struggling because they don't have Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills? Or is it because they don't have Bill Callahan and throw in Nick Chubb in the running game? So, there's so many variables. I think sometimes it's a little overrated. But yes, we saw Callahan would take guys off the street like Garen Christian last year when they were down to their 4th left tackle option, and he just played and you didn't really, hear much about him. So he didn't do that bad of a job after losing the top 3 guys. But he also was the proponent to wanting Jedrick Wills with the 10th pick in the draft. And so, okay, there were some other guys that turned out better than that. So it's all the way around. I think he's a technician and can really teach them and work with what they have. But I can't put my finger on, and I'm not going to after one game, 1 week. I really think you need to have all your pieces back in the lineup. And I think they were counting on all 3 of them tackles being back, I think, or they would have drafted a tackle or signed, maybe a better tackle than what they did for depth. It's hard for me to believe that, Jedrick Wills had the same type injury, is my understanding, than DeJuan Jones, and he's the farthest to be ready to go compared to Jones and Conklin and himself. So we'll see what happens. One game, lot to blame. See how they go from here.